Today we're going to be playing Blue-White Justice of Blockers against the popular matchup Blue-Purple on Mobile Suit Arena. I'm going to show you guys how I play the deck and why I make certain decisions. And yeah, hopefully we have some good games. So normally if you're playing this deck, you want to go blind second. But for this video, I'm going to show you the thought process when going first. So normally your ideal curve when going first is to play Zawart on turn 2 and then Corsica on turn 3. This hand didn't have it, so we're going to mulligan that away. That's for going blind. If you know what you're playing against, you might not need the Zawart, and the other hand would have been fine. But this hand is pretty good as well. You have the Zawart for aggro, and you have the Ale Strike, Perfect Strike stuff if it is a slower matchup. And you have the Show of Resolve that we just drew. That's better for slower matchups. And yeah, so we see the 2-2 weenie, that's purple, so we're probably playing against blue-purple. We play the Zawart down, there's nothing really to do here. So our opponent swings his 2-2 into our EX base. This doesn't really do anything to our EX base, so I usually let this one through since we will have another blocker to work with in the next turn. So yeah, our opponent plays down his 4-3 and ends his turn. So it's our turn 3 and we don't really have much to do here except to play the Rick Diaz. We could trade, but we can always take it out when he decides to attack us. So my opponent decides to pair his 2-2 with an Armoro, resting our Rick Diaz. I don't know how good this is. He's just going to attack our shield. So here we're gonna trade our Zawart with his paired unit. This is a good trade for us. We're taking out 2 cards with 1 card, which is good, and he attacks our EX space. But yeah, I don't know how good this Armoro is. I'm definitely happy with this trade. We're getting rid of an Armoro early, which is really good for us. And then he plays down his first form, Barbados. So it's our turn 4, and we kind of have a couple of options. We can go Show of Resolve plus Armoro. This is pretty good because we draw a lot of cards. The only problem is if we take out the first form, Barbados, it leaves our Rick Diaz with 1 HP, and this is blue-purple, so it's very easy for them to take out 1 HP. And if our opponents do have the ping like that, it gets very sketchy very quickly. And another option is to play down the Lifrith. This way we can establish board and we can take out the first form Barbados. And that's exactly what we ended up doing. We just got to make sure we pair the Armoro with the Lifrith instead of the Rick Diaz. This is to avoid leaving our paired unit with 1 HP. And yeah, our board looks pretty good. We have a 4-5 Lifrith versus their 4-3 unit. So it's turn 4 for our opponent, and he's swinging his 4-3 into our shields. I think we let this one through because if we block it, it leaves our Lifrith at 1 HP. And like I said before, it's blue-purple. They can ping us down really easily. We hit a base, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, and here's the one ping that he would have done. We would have lost the Lifrith. Maybe it was not too bad, but leaving our blocker for later is pretty strong. So it's turn 5 for us. We have a pretty simple turn. We can play the Perfect Strike for 3 and the Striker Pack for 2. And yeah, it's a pretty solid turn. So yeah, it's our opponent's turn 5. And he plays Show of Resolve, and then he swings his 4-3 into our shields. We definitely want to block this, want to get rid of it. We actually make a misplay here. I forgot he took 1 damage from before, so we actually should have blocked with the 2-4 blocker. At the end of the day, we got rid of the guy. We don't have a good blocker for his 3-5 remake, so we skipped that. And then he plays a 2-2 weenie and passes. So it's our turn 6 here, and we actually have a couple of plays here. We can go full board and play the Ale Strike and the Lifrith for 2 blockers, which is really strong. The only problem is our hand gets pretty awkward with 2 Show of Resolves for the following turn. So we opted to just play down 1 Show of Resolve to see what we get, and probably play another unit so we don't give up on the board completely. So here I'm thinking about playing down the Lifrith or a Sword Strike. In my mind, they're both about the same. They're both a body that I can use to contest the board with. The benefit with the Lifrith is that we can play the Overflowing Affection, and we can actually filter our hand to have more better cards. So that's what we end up doing. And we actually throw away the Show of Resolve here because against something as fast as blue-purple, we actually want to value our units a bit more. The game's probably not going to be that long, right? And I swing the Perfect Strike into his EX space. I don't think there's going to be any good blocks with the Perfect Strike, and we have to start doing something eventually. So my opponent plays a Rebake, and he pings my Perfect Strike, and then he swings into my shield. So I block here. The only reason why this would make sense for my opponent is if he had double ping. It turns out he does have double ping. 2 gun tanks, killing my 2-4 very easily. And now he's swinging his rebake into my base. I really want to protect my base because I don't have another one. And I block this even though it leaves my Lifrith at 1 HP because he used so many pings already. But he has the 3rd gun tank getting rid of my Lifrith. So it's my turn 7 here, and my goal here is to get rid of both the rebakes, because if I do get lucky with getting a base off the shields, they're the ones who can crack it with just 1 pilot. So that's what I do here. I go Gundam, Gundam Armoro, and Link to get rid of both rebakes. So it's my opponent's turn 7 here, and he has 3 gun tanks on the board, which is pretty funny. He plays the Corsica base for the 4/2 Talgies token, and he pairs his gun tank with an Armoro. So yeah, this is probably better than hitting my Corsica base with 2 gun tanks, but honestly it's still probably pretty awkward for my opponent. So my opponent swings with his 2nd gun tank, and I actually get the unforeseen incident off of the burst. Normally I would be minusing 3 to the 3rd gun tank, but actually I minus 3 to the Talgies. That's because I want him to swing with the last gun tank. This way I can clear out his whole board and I can like secure the win from there. In my mind it looks really strong, but let me know in the comments if this was actually just me being too extra and if I should just minus 3 to the final gun tank like normal. So yeah, this is how it played out. I played the Sword Strike Link bouncing the Talgies token, and I can get rid of all 3 gun tanks with my 3 swings on the board. And yep, I finished the turn with putting an Ale Strike on the board, and yeah, our board looks pretty strong compared to his 2/2 Weenie left. So it's my opponent's turn 8, and he has 2 cards in his hand and a 2/2 Weenie on the board, and he just passes. So it's our turn 9, and we're in a really strong position. We have more cards than our opponent, and we have a stronger board than our opponent. So we're just doing our due diligence to make sure we set up lethal for the following turn. We bounce his units. We're going to be full swinging into his shield just to make sure we have a clean lethal for the following turn. So here I thought about swinging with Ale, but it doesn't really do anything, so I decided to leave it up and play 2 more blockers. This way there's no way for him to cheese out a win. So my opponent plays down the Corsica, a gun tank, and another Weenie, and then he plays the Fatal Strike to kill my Lifrith, but honestly I think this is pretty wraps. I need 4 swings to win the game, and I have 5. So we start off the attack with the Sword Strike Gundam to crack the Corsica base, and then we attack with the 3 AP Gundam. This way, if they hit a base like this, we have enough attack to crack it. And then from there, it's a pretty easy win. So yeah, that's the game. That's how I would play Blue-White Justice blockers against Blue-Purple, which is a deck that's rising in popularity. Let me know if this was helpful or if you wanted a specific matchup.